Hi, I'm Kenny Anderson, Director of Multicultural Affairs for the City of Huntsville, and welcome to Impact. Each week we bring you information about exciting things that are happening right here in this community, and today will be no different. You know, the 9th Annual Youth Services Council Breakfast and Conference is on the way, and we wanted to make sure that you had as much information as we could provide so that you can adequately prepare for this very important experience. Joining me today is Fred Whitlow II, also known as Minister Fred. He wears so many hats in this community. He's also a talk show host. He works for the Huntsville Housing Authority, but his passion is with young people, and we're glad to have him on the set today. Welcome, Fred.
Welcome. How you doing?
I'm doing great, man. It's good to have you, and it's good to be able to talk about this very important initiative that we hope everybody will not just learn about, but also support.
Definitely.
So we'll dive right into it at this time. The Youth Services Council, you've been engaged with them for a number of years and the work that you do. But first of all, let's talk about your work with the Huntsville Housing Authority.
Well, my work with Huntsville Housing Authority is I am the Youth and Family Service Coordinator. What that means is for those residents that live in housing, we work with them to help them become self-sufficient, to grow their families in such a way that it's not only positive, but it's productive, and that they can move up and out of public housing into the workforce, into the private sector, and become what they have chosen to be, and to reach their American dream or to reach their goals in life.
Yeah, and this is, of course, something that is extremely important. It sits like right at the heart of the mission of the Public Housing Authority. The idea that you're all about helping people become more self-sufficient, self-sustaining, to be able to find productive jobs and be able to provide for their families. And young people, of course, is a huge emphasis.
Definitely.
As that relates to that whole conversation. I mean, we're talking about education, social and recreational activities, just providing the underbelly, the underpinnings for that person to be successful.
Yeah, and what's amazing about it, Kenny, is that when we think about the household and being successful and bettering the quality of life, the reality is the challenges that affect families are, one, what do I do to make sure my kids are growing positively, socially, the accountability, and then two, how do I do that and still work? How do I do that and still have a life as the head of my household or as a couple? And so my job is, and a lot of my responsibility is making sure that I have that one-on-one with the family, meet the family. Okay, what does the son or the child or the daughter like to do? Connecting them with youth services providers so that the child, when they come out of school, they go right into a program, after school, tutoring, mentoring, so on and so on. So that frees up the parent throughout the day to take care of what he or she needs to take care of, and then be able to come home and have that great sit down and, hey, guess what happened, mom? Or guess what happened, son? What happened, daughter? What happened, father? And so on and so on.
You know, I hear a lot of people say things like there really isn't enough going on for young people in our community. I know that you would beg to differ, not only because you have a facility called The Spot that provides those kinds of opportunities for young people, but because every day you're working with young people, you're working with families, you're in the community, you see the agencies that provide those opportunities. And Huntsville really is fortunate to have the broad range of opportunities for young people at every level of the field. I mean, whether it's a youth leadership program, whether it's an academic program, whether it's a social or recreational program, there really are lots of assets out there in the community, aren't there?
Oh, yeah. I mean, when you look at, and I think that's what's amazing about Youth Services Council of Madison County, is because it is a conglomerate of all of these youth services that either have a component of just youth services, or they may have something in conjunction with the family, the parent. And so we all come together once a month on the first Thursday of every month at the Red Cross building on Washington Street, first thing in the morning at 8:30, and we begin to build. We network, we collaborate, we share, and then we say, hey, this is what's going on in the month of so and so and so. Everybody comes together at the table, and then writes that information down, and then we support each other, which is what it's all about. So that if I have a kid that needs a mentor, Big Brothers Big Sisters is there. If I need to touch base with somebody in Madison, I'll get with Madison up. If I turn around, I mean, it's bananas. You know, that's my word, bananas. Like you can get it. It's a mixing pot, a melting pot of wonderful services. And at the end of the day, there's something for some young person, you know?
And this coming together, the Youth Services Council, like you said, I think provides a good primer for what's going on in the community. Of course, people are obviously building relationships along the way, which is great. You kind of learn what area a person has a strength in or a certain skill set, and you can actually connect people who are looking for those services with the best possible provider, which I think is the optimum thing that you want to be able to do in the community. But to be in a community with so many resources, and then to have people say, you know, I don't know what to do, or there's no place for my kid to go.
Right.
I mean, there are after school programs, there's just all kinds of things that are going on out there in the community. Part of the message in our conversation today is that there is help.
Correct. And there is not only help, but there is a way to obtain it in such a way that it literally betters your children. And if your children are better, if they're healthier, they're more nutritious and all of that, then when they get to school, they're going to turn those grades up.
Yeah.
And then they're going to have positive reports and they're going to have positive experiences, so that the next thing you know, that parent or parents are going to say, hey, or guardian are going to say, hey, so-and-so, what else can I get my child involved in? Which means it's less of a chance to get in trouble.
Yeah.
It's less of a chance to become a statistic or a label or become truant.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, we are in a great city where all you can do is go up, provided the services are at least afforded to them as an opportunity.
Yeah, well, that direction is definitely possible because, like you and I both agree, there are so many resources out there.
Yes.
And as Youth Services Council, breakfast and conference is coming up. It's September the 8th.
Correct.
At the National Children's Advocacy Center. What is this all about?
All right, so the breakfast conference is an opportunity for educators, those who are interested in finding out more about youth services, those who want to learn more of how to do it more effectively, or even if you're a parent or someone that just says, you know, I don't know much about working with kids, or so on and so on, or I have an issue and I want to know what organizations may have the solution. And so they're able to come to this conference and they can benefit through, again, networking, through actually the workshops, the topics, we have breakout sessions and all that kind of cool stuff. And as a result, they literally can glean information that really, most of the time, I'm talking about, tons of people have always said, and this is our 9th year. This is our 9th year doing that. And so it's been amazing seeing how it is a benefit and a blessing to those who come.
Yeah, and I'm looking at your lineup and noticing that you have a number of great speakers. I want to highlight one. I mean, they're all great speakers, but Carl Ross is the Boys and Girls Club Youth of the Year, a very dynamic young man. I've seen him speak on a number of occasions. He represents well. He is, I think, a great role model in the community. I think he's a great spokesperson for life, youth, as well as the Boys and Girls Club. I think his future is as bright as you can imagine one's future might be. Very proud to see this young man, and he's going to be addressing the issue of beating the odds, overcoming personal challenges, and his backstory is incredible.
It's amazing, and I think that's why it's so important to have these type of, if you're going to go to an event, if you're going to have some fun, if you're going to get dressed up, or if you want to come casual, whatever your attire might be, or whatever you choose to wear, these are the type of events and type of conferences and breakfast occasions where you can actually be able to see how this is possible. And so if you're going through something, or you have a child or a community that's really dealing with some struggles, these deal with the real talk issues in such a way that it's not threatening, but you can still ask the question. We have Q&A after every presentation. You're able to talk to the individuals one-on-one and then tie that into a youth service provider.
And I mean, it doesn't really get better than that, because you have the opportunity to not merely identify the challenges, but you also have an opportunity to identify solutions.
Right.
And partnerships that can be created to create dynamic change and transformation, as well as progress and growth. And I think everybody wants to do that. You have some other topics here. I see Councilman Devin Keith is going to be speaking. You have Laura Huckabee Jennings, another friend of mine. She's the CEO and founder of Transcend. Laura's a very dynamic person who is certainly interested and passionate about personal growth and development. You also have a speaker who's going to be talking about factors that can change, that can keep you charging ahead even in tough times. In the midst of it. Correct. And that's extremely important, especially when we think about young people and sustaining their motivation. I know with all of the work you've done over the years with young people, that's been one of the biggest challenges. How do you keep young people motivated?
Well, one of the things that I really like about the conference that it brings out is, one, the ability to connect real life and fun and still get the job done. So here we go. The theme of it is about heroes. Everybody at some point has either seen a comic, believes in a comic. My favorite is Batman. You already know. I'm that dude, for real. So you can pick your favorite comic hero or hero in general, and then we're going to do a track. So even though you have these workshops, how is it that you, as an individual, because we're all a hero to someone, good or bad, there's a hero. But we want heroes, and even if you're a villain, how do you turn from a villain to a hero? You know, you got me in here, Kenny. This is serious, man. You know, you can go from Clark Kent to you can go to, you know, at the end of the day, there is a way that you can find and get to the point where you can find success. Yeah. And so we'll have a breakout session. We have a little interactive stuff. You can bring your Batman hat, your Spider-Man hat, you know, whatever you're into. It's going to be great. I'm telling you, you definitely want to come just for the icebreakers. It's bananas.
Well, that whole notion of just, you know, combining, you know, some real life experiences that people have, things that motivate them, drive them, energize them is extremely important and valuable, I'm sure, to this whole conversation. And at the end of this event, this maybe the thing that's most important to me is, what's the message? What do you want people that attend to walk away with?
The message, and I'm gonna just do two pieces, but the first message is that just like the heroes, they were ordinary people, had to go through extraordinary things to become extraordinary successes. And it doesn't matter where you're from, what you've done, what the challenges are. The reality is you can do and you can be any and everything, but you have to realize that you're a hero. And then there's those times when you just get tired. How does a hero, when they're exhausted, tired, they've been doing the good work, how do they bounce back? How do they bounce back? And that's why we have the management piece, the counseling piece, then we have the intervention piece, as well as the other components, because it's a real situation. When you choose to do right, or when you choose to go over and beyond, and if you see a situation or a scenario, especially when it deals with our kids and their parents, what do you do to help that situation? That's what heroes do. They sit back and they go, how can I save the world? And if you can't do it yourself, then you'll be like DC. I'm gonna get the Marvel universe, and then you got the DC universe. Okay, I need you over here, Spider-Man. I need you over here, Superman, and then we go to work. And so this is really in the nutshell, it's though we are one person, though we are ordinary people, we can become extraordinary heroes, though we have to deal with challenging times in this century, this time, in the now moment. That's the first thing. Second thing is that it is always possible to find solutions when people say you can't do it. Don't tell us you can't. Let's show you how much you can. And this is putting the empowerment back in the hands of the ordinary but supernatural hero.
That's powerful. How can people get more information about this event?
Well, you can, for one thing, you can reach us on all of our social media. That would be LinkedIn, Instagram. We have our Twitter and all that kind of stuff.
And are they reaching youth services?
Yes, it's Youth Services Council of Madison County. Okay. It's LinkedIn. You can also go to our Instagram and so on from the social media side. Then also you can definitely come over to and visit us once a month and become a part. Listen, it's only $10 a year. And that's really just for the grants. And the benefit of this conference, the monies that are generated, is to provide many grants, listen to me, many grants, so that we can keep this thing going. because it's a collaboration of organizations, and somebody has a program that needs a little bit of funds. And if those grants come through, we're able to say, hey, listen, go ahead and use it for the good cause. Also, you can do it. You can also go to Eventbrite, is Youth Services Council. Breakfast Conference is the 9th annual, but you can do it there as well.
All right, so lots of ways to be able to connect to Fred Whitlow. He is a multi-talented, multifaceted person in this community, working with young people, and Fred is one of our local heroes because he definitely gets the job done. Thank you for being here with us today, Fred.
Thank you, and thank you for being my hero. This guy is my hero. I'm serious. You've been doing this. You know, you're the trendsetter, and you pass that baton, and so I pick it up and I pass it, and then some other organization passes it, and at the end of the day, everybody has a beacon of light. You know, it's not just green. It might be a green lantern. It might be a red lantern. It might be a yellow or blue or orange. But if the light is on, we're not in darkness.
That's a great way to end the show, man. Great segue into this little segment here where I thank Fred for being here and say to you that I hope that you've enjoyed the information that we shared and that you can actually check out a video of the show that you just watched on our Facebook page, which is Impact with Kenny Anderson, where you can also see some shots of what happens once the camera stops rolling. I hope you'll join me and Fred on September 8th at the 9th Annual Youth Services Council Breakfast and Conference, because we'll be in the house. It's the National Children's Advocacy Center. You can check out their social media pages and Eventbrite to get more information. In the meantime, we hope that you have a great rest of the week. As always, I'm Kenny Anderson, and this is Impact. We'll see you again soon.